The sky churned, lightning flashed, illuminating the darkened clouds with a brief, blinding light. Thunder rumbled ominously, a deep growl that seemed to shake the very ground beneath. Rain lashed down upon the wasteland, a forgotten industrial sector. The relentless downpour turned the ground into a muddy quagmire, each drop a tiny hammer striking the earth with unyielding force. Twisted metal skeletons reached for the sky, their rusted frames groaning under the weight of years of neglect. These were the remnants of a once thriving industrial hub, now reduced to a graveyard of steel and iron. Remnants of a lost era. A lone siren wailed, its mournful cry echoing through the desolate landscape, a ghostly reminder of the past. A mournful cry lost in the wind. The wind howled through the empty structures, carrying with it the whispers of forgotten times and lost dreams. Two figures stood, unmoved by the tempestuous fury surrounding them. They were like statues, their forms silhouetted against the stormy backdrop, resolute and unyielding. They were giants, mechanical titans sculpted from steel and powered by unknown energies. Their presence was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a testament to the marvels and horrors of technological advancement. One, Ph3g0rgun, crackled with volatile electricity. Sparks danced across his jagged frame, each one a promise of the destructive power contained within. The other, N30Ry3g0n, hummed with a cold, calculating energy. His sleek form glowed with an eerie blue light, a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of his counterpart. This was their battleground. The abandoned factory floor, once a hive of human activity, now served as the arena for these titanic beings. Ph3g0rgun, a being of jagged edges and exposed wires, pulsed with unpredictable energy. His every movement was a symphony of chaos, a dance of destruction waiting to be unleashed. His form seemed haphazard, a chaotic fusion of metal and might. Yet within that chaos, there was a raw, untamed power that could not be ignored. But within that chaos, a raw power thrummed. Opposite him stood N30Ry3g0n, his polar opposite in every way, sleek, polished. Every line spoke of purpose and design. N30Ry3g0n was a masterpiece of engineering, a weapon honed to perfection. He was a weapon honed to perfection. Every movement was precise, calculated, a testament to the cold efficiency of his design. His eyes, twin crimson orbs, burned with cold intensity, focused solely on his opponent. They were the eyes of a predator, unblinking and relentless. The air crackled with anticipation. Every gust of wind, every flash of lightning seemed to herald the impending clash. The storm above mirrored the battle brewing below. Nature's fury was but a prelude to the mechanical storm about to be unleashed. Ph3g0rgun was a tempest of power, a force of nature wrapped in metal and electricity. His presence alone could send shivers down the spines of those who dared to face him. His primary weapon was the very energy coursing through his being, a raw, untamed force that he could unleash at will. This energy was not just a tool, but an extension of his very essence. Lightning arced from his fingertips, a dazzling display of power that could incinerate anything in its path. Each spark was a testament to his overwhelming might. His punches could shatter reinforced concrete, leaving nothing but rubble in their wake. The sheer force behind each blow was enough to make the ground tremble. He was unpredictable, a whirlwind of chaotic energy. In battle, he moved like a storm, his actions impossible to predict, his fury unmatched. But that chaos also held his weakness. The very unpredictability that made him formidable also made him vulnerable. His lack of control could lead to his own undoing. His attacks lacked finesse, reliant on brute force. While his power was undeniable, it was often unfocused. A hammer where a scalpel was needed. N30Ry3g0n, in stark contrast, was precision incarnate. Every movement was calculated, every action deliberate. He was the embodiment of mechanical perfection. His movements were fluid, efficient, a dance of metal and circuitry. There was no wasted motion, no unnecessary action. Everything he did had a purpose. His metal body housed a vast arsenal of weaponry, each tool designed for a specific purpose. From blades to projectiles, he was prepared for any situation. Hidden compartments held blades, projectiles, and more. These weapons were not just for show, they were extensions of his strategic mind, ready to be deployed at a moment's notice. N30Ry3g0n observed, analyzed, and exploited weakness. His sensors could detect the slightest flaw, the smallest vulnerability, and he would strike with unerring accuracy. He was a master strategist, anticipating his opponent's moves before they were made. His mind was a supercomputer, processing countless variables to ensure victory. He moved with the grace that belied his size, a dangerous predator stalking its prey. His every step was measured, his every action precise. The differences between them were stark. One was a force of nature, wild and untamed. The other, a machine of precision, cold and calculating. One, a storm of untamed power, a chaotic force that could not be contained. The other, a scalpel, sharp and deadly, striking with pinpoint accuracy. The other, a scalpel, sharp and deadly. Each had their strengths, each had their weaknesses. The battle between them was a clash of titans, a meeting of two unstoppable forces. The outcome, however, was far from certain. In this dark industrial arena, amidst the sparks and debris, the future was unwritten. Each held the power to destroy the other. Their clash would be a test of strength, strategy, and willpower. Only the strongest would prevail. Only one would walk away from this desolate arena. The battle would leave its mark, but in the end, a victor would emerge, forever changed by the encounter. The first clash was inevitable. Ph3g0rgun struck first, his eyes blazing with a fierce determination that seemed to light up the dark industrial warehouse. The air was thick with tension, a palpable sense of impending chaos. A blinding bolt of lightning erupted from his hand, illuminating the shadows with a harsh, electric blue light. The sheer power of the strike was enough to make the ground tremble. It arced through the air, a jagged spear of pure energy, crackling with raw, untamed power. The sound was deafening, a thunderous roar that echoed through the cavernous space. N30Ry3g0n was ready. He raised a hand, his movements precise and controlled, a shimmering energy shield materializing just in time to deflect the attack. The shield glowed with a soft, ethereal light, a stark contrast to the violent energy it repelled. The impact was tremendous, sending shockwaves rippling through the air. The energy shield held firm, absorbing the brunt of the attack and dispersing the energy harmlessly into the surroundings. The air crackled and hissed, the smell of ozone filling the space, a sharp metallic tang that stung the nostrils. Ph3g0rgun pressed his attack, a whirlwind of blows, each one more ferocious than the last. His movements were a blur, a chaotic dance of destruction. Each strike held the force of a demolition charge, the power behind them enough to shatter steel and concrete. But N30Ry3g0n was unyielding. He deflected each one with a grace and precision that seemed almost effortless, his movements a fluid counterpoint to Ph3g0rgun's raw aggression. His movements were a blur, a graceful dance around the storm of attacks. The tide turned. N30Ry3g0n found an opening. He struck, a piston-powered fist slamming into Ph3g0rgun's chest, with a force that could have felled a giant. The force of the blow sent Ph3g0rgun reeling. He stumbled back, his chaotic energy flickering, the once formidable aura now wavering. N30Ry3g0n pressed his advantage, moving like a shadow, striking with precision. He targeted weak points, exploiting every opening with a calculated efficiency. Each strike was deliberate. Each movement measured, a masterful display of combat prowess. Ph3g0rgun roared in anger and frustration, his voice a guttural growl that echoed through the warehouse. He unleashed another barrage of lightning, the air crackling with the intensity of his fury. But N30Ry3g0n was ready. He weaved through the attacks, his own assault relentless, a blur of motion and energy. The final confrontation was a blur of metal and energy, a chaotic symphony of destruction. Ph3g0rgun, battered but not broken, gathered his remaining strength. He unleashed a final desperate attack, a wave of pure energy erupting from his body, a last-ditch effort to turn the tide. N30Ry3g0n stood his ground. He raised his hands, and a shield of pure energy materialized around him, glowing with a radiant light. The wave of energy crashed against it, an explosion of light and sound that shook the very foundations of the warehouse. When the dust settled, only N30Ry3g0n remained standing. The battle was over, the dance of destruction complete. The warehouse, once a place of industry, now lay in ruins, a testament to the ferocity of their clash. Ph3g0rgun lay on the ground, his energy spent, his body battered and broken. N30Ry3g0n looked down at his fallen foe, a mixture of respect and pity in his eyes. The battle had been hard fought, but in the end there could be only one victor. The final moments of the battle played out in slow motion, each movement, each strike, a testament to the skill and determination of the combatants. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and the echoes of their clash. Ph3g0rgun's final desperate attack had been a sight to behold, a wave of pure energy that had threatened to overwhelm everything in its path. But N30Ry3g0n's shield had held firm, a beacon of light in the darkness. As the dust settled and the echoes of their battle faded, N30Ry3g0n stood victorious, a lone figure amidst the ruins. The dance of destruction had ended, but the memory of their clash would linger, a testament to their strength and determination. The warehouse, now a battlefield, stood silent, the air still crackling with the remnants of their energy. N30Ry3g0n took a deep breath, the weight of the battle settling on his shoulders. He had won, but at what cost? The shield of pure energy that had protected him began to fade, the light dimming as the last remnants of Ph3g0rgun's attack dissipated. N30Ry3g0n lowered his hands, the battle finally over. The explosion of light and sound that had marked the end of their clash was now a distant memory, the warehouse returning to its eerie silence. N30Ry3g0n stood alone, the victor of the dance of destruction. When the dust settled, only N30Ry3g0n remained standing. The battle was over, the dance of destruction complete. The warehouse, once a place of industry, now lay in ruins, a testament to the ferocity of their clash. Reflective sound effects. Ph3g0rgun lay silent, his form sparking and smoking. N30Ry3g0n stood over his fallen foe, his crimson eyes cold and calculating. The storm raged around them, but the battle was over. One victor, one vanquished. N30Ry3g0n had proven his superiority. His strategic brilliance, his mastery of combat had triumphed. He turned and walked away, leaving the ruined form of his opponent behind. The storm raged on, a fitting requiem for a fallen warrior. But the silence that followed was more profound. It spoke of a power shift, a new order in this desolate world. N30Ry3g0n, the victor, disappeared into the storm, his legend solidified in the heart of the wasteland.